Hello, everybody. Welcome into Sports by GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Jeremy Lapidus. If you are just tuning in, today is Tuesday, September 17th. I hope everybody is having a wonderful day so far. We are going to cover lots of stuff today. It is Tuesday, so of course, we're going through our rankings, starting off with the NFL and Monday Night Football, then getting into NFL power rankings before closing out our show in college football, doing our NCAA top 25. But before we get into any of that, remember, if you would like to be an even bigger part of the show than you already are, all you need to do is go to gsmcpodcast.net. Or if you are on YouTube, you can use that super chat feature. If you do either of those two things, a message should pop up on the bottom of the screen for you, me, and everybody else around the world to see. If you do have a burning question about sports, anything at all that you would like to ask, go ahead and throw that in the comments. Throw it in the chat. I will get to it as soon as I possibly can. I appreciate everybody so much for sticking around, talking some sports with me here on a beautiful Tuesday, September 17th. But like I would say, we start off our show talking all about Monday Night Football. The Eagles lose this game, grab a loss from the jaws of defeat. Loss from the jaws of victory. It is just a shame that they lost this game. The Eagles were playing the most this game. Starting out with them, right? The Philadelphia Eagles lose this game. They had a 99.3% chance in this game, and inside the 20, the Falcons are out of timeouts. Falcons have no timeouts left, and the Eagles choose to throw the ball. Now, I've heard a lot of different reactions to this. People are blaming Nick Sirianni for a lot of different things. I think it's very important to point out here, Nick Sirianni is not the play caller. Nick Sirianni is just the head coach, and sure, are there decisions made by the head coach in this game that are not the best? Absolutely, but this is not on him. The play call that was made was an excellent play call. It's one that all but scored a touchdown earlier on in the game. It showed that it worked. Saquon Barkley releasing on that quick route with Jalen Hurts rolling out there. Worst comes to worst in that situation, they drop the ball. That's what happens. They kick the field goal. A defensive unit that has been pretty good about stopping the Falcons for the most part of this game comes out on the field, and you hope you can hold them out of the end zone. Something that they only done once on one big play when they brought the house, a zero blitz, when you had Darnell Mooney going basically one-on in that play. That's not defense. They didn't play a very good game until that. But the big controversy is whether or not they should have. And there's question there. I completely understand it. You run the ball, you take 40 seconds off the clock. The Eagles give the Falcons just about 50 seconds to win the game. It doesn't matter. They went down and scored fast enough that need to run the ball. The Falcons would have scored based on the time. So I think this is more on the Eagles' defense. I don't mind play call at all. Saquon Barkley doesn't drop that ball 99% of the time. Saquon Barkley catches that ball, maybe even scores a touchdown a lot of the times in that situation. Saquon Barkley is the kind of player that you want to trust with the ball there. I have no problem with that play call. I like them being aggressive. I like them with that play call. The run, as much as it had been working on that drive, the Falcons were selling out to stop it. You knew something would be open on the outside. And worst comes to worst, like Nick Sirianni was saying in the postgame, he could still take a sack. Jalen Hurts could still take a sack. And that was part of the plan. Hey, if it's not here, just take a sack. Don't go out of bounds. Don't force it. Don't throw an incompletion. Take a sack. That was the right move football-wise. I think that was a great play. I think there's no reason why the Eagles should not have done it. And I do, again, I understand the other side of it. Just run the ball, take time off the clock if you're going to kick it anyway. But I like that play a lot. I think it works in almost any other situation. Excuse me. The Falcons on the other side. I want to throw a highlight here on Kirk Cousins. Because Kirk Cousins, after what was really an awful week one for him, really did impress me today. Kirk Cousins came out and he did a very, very good job. He looked comfortable moving around the pocket. He looked like he's a guy that I could trust to run the Falcons offense. We were talking about pre-game in our show yesterday. We were talking in our preview about we were officially on Michael Penix's watch. We were officially on, hey, there's a real shot that Michael Penix comes into this game and plays for the Falcons if Kirk Cousins looks the way he did, his inability to move around in the pocket the way he played against the Steelers. He comes out on Monday Night Football, a place where, primetime Kirk Cousins hasn't always been the best. Kirk Cousins comes out Monday Night Football and looks awesome. He's able to move around the pocket. They're doing play action. They're carving up that Eagles defense with Bijan Robinson. I would like to see him, get to his bigger receivers more often, but I was very impressed by Kirk Cousins. I was very, very impressed by his mobility. That's the thing I was looking for the most. Is he able to move around the pocket? There were times where he was executing that play action, where he was scrambling even for a couple of yards. There was a sack early on in the game where they went for his legs. I got scared. He came back up. After that, there was nothing. He looked comfortable. And if that's the Kirk Cousins we're going to get out of the Falcons, the hype that the Falcons had at the beginning of the season, the hype that the Falcons had after signing Kirk Cousins, after trading for Matthew Judon, after signing Justin Simmons, after everything they did this offseason, getting their new head coach, it's real. You can see it. Really, that entire NFC South is leagues better than at least I was expecting. The Falcons are going to have a dogfight on their hands. We talked about the Saints yesterday. We talked about if they're for real or not. That's going to be a tough division for anybody to win. The Saints, the Bucks, the Falcons now, if they're able to keep playing like this, both of these teams are good. The battle of the birds here. Both of these teams are good. The Eagles and the Falcons both have real playoff chances. And in a murky NFC, there is a shot. Now, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but in a murky NFC, there's a shot that these are two of the better teams in all of the NFC. The 49ers just lost this week to the Vikings. I think both of these teams are better than the Vikings. I know the Vikings always play the 49ers tough, but that being said, these are two very good teams, and I don't want to put too much on the Eagles here. I don't want to put too much on Nick Sirianni. What I do want to focus on is, yet again, prevent defense. My God, I don't understand why it's a thing. Now, I understand you run it against a Hail Mary. Sure, run it against a Hail Mary. Run it against a one-play drive with, 3 seconds left in the game and they're 70 yards away from the end zone. But on a 2-minute drill, why in the world would you ever run prevent defense? Every time a team goes into prevent defense, the goal of prevent defense is to stop an end zone shot. That's it. It's the only thing prevent defense is for. It's not there to stop those 30-yard balls. It's not there to stop those 15 to 20-yard intermediate routes. It's not there to stop the short routes. It's there to stop the 50-yard bombs. And if you're running a 2-minute drill, right, you should never have a 50-yard bomb be your first option. You should be looking for those 20, 30-yard plays. You should be looking for those quick outs to get you out of bounds, and that's exactly what the Falcons did. They saw the Eagles go into prevent defense, and they said, thank you, I will take my 30 yards at a time, thank you very much. And then they marched right down the field in the most efficient drive they've had all season. All game, the Eagles were shutting down that passing attack. They weren't getting much done in the air outside of that one big play, and then they go into prevent. And that's where they really lost this game. I think prevent defense should go extinct in the NFL. I think prevent defense should literally only be an anti-Hail Mary call. It's the only time it makes sense to run a prevent defense set. With 2 minutes left, you should not be going into prevent. It's just a bad defensive strategy, and that's where the Eagles lost this game. They should have won this game by Saquon Barkley catching the ball and getting a first down. They should have won this game by stopping them on defense. Heck, they probably should have won this game by Jalen Hurts not forcing a ball into double coverage. He had an open wide receiver that would have gotten them into field goal range. The Eagles had many opportunities to win this game. They should have won this game. They didn't. It's not on Nick Sirianni. It's not on that play call. It's not on Saquon either. They just, I'm blaming the defense and Vic Fangio, really. I don't understand why people still think prevent is ever a good idea. And that's where I think this game was lost. The Eagles played a good game of defensively, offensively, and you can criticize some of those fourth down decisions. I know there's a couple of them that I would have gone the other way, either going for it or kicking a field goal. But at the end of the day, that's what the Eagles are built on. You're going to take the good with the bad. You're going to take those tough fourth down calls because that's just part of the game. That's just how they do it. You wouldn't tell the Lions to stop, going for it on fourth down because that's just what they do. That's just part of their DNA. It's the same thing with the Eagles. That's what they're built on. That's how they succeed. You have to let them do it. You're going to take the good with the bad, and you can't overreact to it. The Falcons are a good team. The Eagles are a good team. This is not one of those games where you look at it and you say, oh, these teams are done. Their seasons are over. Both of these teams played great. I think the Falcons got exactly what they needed on Monday Night Football, and I think this is a good wake-up call for the Eagles. You have to play hard. You can't go into prevent. I hope this is a wake-up call for the league, because whenever I see prevent, my blood boils a little bit. I don't understand why anyone still thinks it's a good strategy. But regardless of that, let me know what you thought of Monday Night Football. It was an awesome game. Those are the kind of games we want to see on Monday Night Football more often. I'd love to hear your thoughts. We're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, we are going to get into our rankings. It's officially Rankings Tuesday, Sports by GSMC podcast weekly holiday here. We're going to take a look at the NFL Power Rankings, spots 32 to 17, coming up next here on Sports by GSMC Podcast Network.